specifically camping out for a couple days in Shenzhen to spend a little quality time with the new Oppo R11. A follow-up to one of Oppo's most successful phones, the design is sleeker, the cameras are improved, and the phone is running the newest mid-range chipset from Qualcomm. The R11 gives off a nice first impression, well machined, pushing antenna bands to the corners and edges, and the matte black model makes those bands really discreet. This seems to be the final evolution of this style. As other companies are pushing boundaries in other ways, we wouldn't disagree from the comments we're sure to get about this phone and similarities with other devices. A significant focus has been placed on camera improvements, which always makes me happy. Dual shooters are all the rage, and Oppo is serving up a standard view and a zoomed sensor, 20 and 16 megapixels respectively. The two can work in tandem to produce a pretty bokeh background blur mode. The portrait processing here feels familiar, and worked well on the Oppo show floor, even when shooting blind on a rear camera selfie. You shouldn't have to rely on shooting blind though, as the front-facing camera is also a 20 megapixel shooter, and Oppo has a solid reputation for delivering on the selfie game. I'm just terrible at testing out selfies, so yeah, moving right along. Oppo has worked with partners closely on this phone, reaching out to Qualcomm to help improve image processing, so we're looking forward to testing image quality claims and the speed of image rendering. First impressions are on point, highlighting the features most likely to resonate with consumers. Beauty filtering, high-quality 4K video, a fully stocked manual mode, increasingly all the camera stuff we should expect on nicer phones. We can't dig too deep here though, as this is still early software, and a few gremlins like white balance while zooming need to be ironed out, but we're confident Oppo will address this before release. A quick look at software, the Color OS skin has received a bit of polish, but if you're not a fan of making Android function more like iOS, this won't win you over. Again, early days, but it is a simple layout and the phone handled navigation without issue. This could prove to be a great time for upper mid-tier chipsets. Oppo claims a healthy bump in performance while also taxing the battery less. The Snapdragon 653 was notorious for running warm, but newer chipsets like the 625 have proven to be consistent and power-efficient performers. We're very curious to see if the 660 will continue that positive trend. The combo of 1080p display and 3000 mAh battery should help this chipset in keeping this phone powered all day long. The R11 Plus was also unveiled, increasing the form factor with a 6-inch display, taking the RAM up to 6GB, and bumping the battery up to a 4000 mAh capacity. Expecting this should definitely be an all-day battery runtime champ. I'm not always the biggest fan of phablets, but this strategy of big phone, little phone seemed well executed here, in my opinion. And there you have it, folks. Oppo scored a hit with the R9. They're hoping the R11 will build on that success. And we want to hear from you. Does Oppo have the right package to excite consumers? Is it the right response to increasingly cutthroat competition? Drop us a comment down below. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go track down some noodles. As always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon for more videos like these, and help us out with some sharing on your favorite social networks. For PocketNow, I'm Juan Carlos Bagnell, some gadget guy on Twitter and Instagram, and I will catch you all on the next video.
R11 is similar to its predecessor, the R9S. The metal unibody, available in gold, rose gold, and matte black, features an arc curved design, which makes it feel natural in the hand. I was first concerned that the phone might be a bit slippery, but I found that the side edges curve in such a way that makes the R11 easy to grip. Oppo also talked about their new Antenna Line 2.0 technology, which reduces the number of lines from 3 to 2 while still offering excellent signal. The most notable aspect of the R11 is not the design, however, it's the cameras. The rear camera setup has a normal 20 megapixel lens as well as a 16 megapixel 2x zoom lens, so you'll be able to zoom in a bit without losing much quality. Oppo was proud to share with us that they've been working closely with Qualcomm to develop a customized image signal processor. The key takeaway is that the R11 is able to process images quickly, despite the high resolution capture. There's also a bunch of software features that Oppo has added in, which should translate to overall better looking images. For example, the R11 can intelligently recognize up to 100 different lighting scenarios in order to provide more accurate exposure. From the sample images that we were able to capture, the rear camera setup looks to perform well too. The front f2.0 20 megapixel camera also seemed to do well, from what we were able to test. For the R11 hardware specs, we're looking at a Snapdragon 660, 4GB of RAM, 64GB of expandable storage, a 3000 mAh battery, and a 5.5-inch Full HD AMOLED display. As expected, the R11 Plus takes it up a notch with a 6-inch Full HD AMOLED display, 6GB of RAM, and a 4000 mAh battery. Finally, the software experience. The R11 runs Oppo's ColorOS 3.1 over Android 7.1 Nougat. With this latest version of ColorOS, Oppo seems to be focusing on the small details. For example, the software includes a payment protection mode, Wi-Fi security check, and cool features like Oppo Share, which enables fast, lossless file transfer. We've seen similar features from other manufacturers before, but it's nice to see Oppo adopting them. It's very clear that the software is intended more so for the Chinese market, from China-exclusive features to interesting UI changes. For example, all of the notification toggles are in a separate control center view instead of the normal notification panel. How available the R11 itself will be outside of China is also still unclear. Still, the R11 looks to be a very promising mid-range smartphone. We expect the OnePlus 5, also developed by Oppo's parent company BBK Electronics, to share much of the R11's hardware, sans the China-catered